Mic check, 1, 2. Hi, everybody. How you doing? Are you excited to be back? Oh my God, I'm so excited. I walked over in that arena this morning, feel down. Ooh, it's a good feeling. Ready to get games started. For those of you that I haven't met, my name's Amber Cox. I'm the Vice President of Sports here at Mohegan Sun. I oversee the business operations for both of our sports teams, the Black Wolves and also the Connecticut Sun. Very excited to be kicking off our 5th season, believe it or not, here at Mohegan Sun. I know you really want to talk to this man sitting up here, Rich Lisk, so I'm going to take care of a little housekeeping and then turn it over to him. A couple of things I wanted to cover. We've got some really fun theme nights. You know, last year we heard from a lot of you in this very venue at the end of last season. You wanted more Saturday nights. We were able to come through with that. 3 Saturdays, that's more than we've ever had. We're really excited about that. And we've got some great fun themes, some returners. The beer garden, always a good one. I see the t-shirt. We're going to make a change to that this year and move it onto the concourse. It's starting to get a little tight, which is going to be great, allow for more vendors. We're going to start Face Off Against Cancer, which is going to be a really cool new initiative that we hope we can build upon. Obviously, Rivalry Week. We play Philly in Philly the day before and then come back here and play them here. So that's going to be a lot of fun. I hear the boos over here. Keep that going. Hometown Heroes, always a favorite. We love to honor those first responders and our military personnel, and then some others that you can see up there. So really a great schedule. We're excited about it. We hope you'll enjoy all these 9 home games and what we have planned around them. All right, a few member benefits. First of all, thank you for coming on board as a full season ticket member. You are really the foundation of everything that we're building here when you talk about the Black Wolves and it's the business. You're really at the core of everything we're all about. So we really appreciate your dedication to us, the fact that you come out for 9 games. This is really what we want to continue to do, is bring on more people so this room is full. We have a season ticket pickup. We had this event last year. I got really scared. It was so popular. We overran Arugas, so we're going to do it again. If you're not getting our season ticket member emails, make sure you see one of our account executives here in the back. Raise your hand, guys. Or whoever has called you. That contains a lot of really good information, including how to RSVP for this. We've got January 19th. That's our first Saturday home game. We're going to do a bit of a orange carpet event, which is going to take place back of house. If any of you follow us on social media, you've seen we've got a really cool graffiti wall that we've painted down in the back of house arena. And we're going to allow you guys to come down and take some photos in front of that. So that's a really cool opportunity. And then obviously come onto the floor, take photos with the players, the Howlers, the mascot. So again, just trying to provide some really unique benefits as a way to say thank you for being so loyal and coming on board for all 9 games. New member benefits this year. Not up tonight, but by the home opener on the 28th, every member's name will be on a dasher board right underneath the team bench, which is going to be a really cool new feature we're excited about. You'll have an opportunity to take a photo in front of that. 50-year anniversary mug, you've probably heard about that if you haven't picked it up. One of the things we hear a lot about, we go out with these special ticket packs, right? It's like ticket, t-shirt for an individual game. And then we hear from you guys like, well, I want those packages, but I don't need the ticket. So what we did was put together the promo pack. So for $50, you can have every item that we give away in these packages for the year. So our Manny Christmas t-shirt, the beer t-shirt, the koozie, all those things at a super discounted price. And then a new benefit we rolled out last year, $2 Yuengling soda or water every game. So some good stuff. Again, we try to ramp this up every single year. These town halls are great for us because it allows us to take notes and go back and formulate and put together some things, again, that you guys are really looking for in terms of benefits. Does anybody have any questions on the business side? What's that? Didn't get the 5-year. What's our plan on the 5-year mug? What? You can get that at Aruga's. At the pickup event, if you're not going to Aruga's home opener, you can pick it up at the sales table.
Oh, I don't need a mic.
You sure?
Yeah.
She doesn't need a mic. You have to howl before you can ask your question. Mm-hmm. Well, unfortunately, we can't give it away for free. You're basically getting... Those are underwritten by a sponsor. So these are items that we're paying for, and we're just passing them through at our cost. There's no addition, we're not making any money off this. Absolutely, good question. Anybody else? All right, so without further ado, fire away. Rich Lisk, take it away, sir.
Hello, everybody. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Rich Lisk. I'm the general manager of the team. I've been with the team for the last 5 years. I really like and enjoy doing these talks, and this talk is really for you more than for me. So I'm here to answer any questions you guys want to ask, and then we can take the conversation in any direction you want. For those of you who know me or have talked to me before, I'm pretty much an open book. I'll answer any question to my best possible abilities that I can, and hopefully you can understand some of the things that go on behind the scenes on the team. So does anyone want to start off with some questions first? Sure, go ahead. I like to walk around, so.
Run, Andrew, run.
I'm going to hit hard to start.
Go right ahead.
A couple of big transactions with the Vancouver Warriors this week, trading Corey Small to Buffalo,
Yep.
who he's an East Coast guy, playing out west, but he wanted to come back east, and then releasing Reese Dutch. I was curious to know, did the Black Wolves inquire about Corey Small at any point during the last season, and did you look at Reese Dutch? I know that happened pretty quickly. Andy's a Western guy. I was just curious what the Black Wolves' thoughts were on guys who live out west.
Sure. No, and that's a good question. Yes, on both of those. I did have conversations with Vancouver about Corey Small. Couple of things about Corey Small. The price they were asking was a lot. Buffalo gave up Mitch Jones. So to give you guys an example of how this worked with Buffalo and Vancouver, and then I'll circle back to our thoughts on it. Mitch Jones lives in Vancouver. Corey Small had to come back home east to take care of his parents. So geography-wise, those two players told their teams they weren't going back to those teams because of where they were living. So it made natural sense for them to start talking. Again, I've had 3 or 4 conversations with them about Corey Small. Corey Small wanted to end up in Buffalo. So he would not have signed a long-term deal if he came here. So we probably would have lost him after a year with us. And they wanted an extravagant amount for Corey Small when we started talking to them. Mitch Jones made some sense for Buffalo, again, because he's moving there, and Mitch Jones was a good player. We would have had to give up a really good player or 2 first-round picks to get Corey Small for only a year to rent him, basically, because he wouldn't have signed a long-term deal. So, no, we thought that when we looked at it that didn't make sense for us. And then Reese Dutch was brought up to us. But when I say Vancouver, like, we're not afraid to fly players in. We have Alex Bouquet, who we've traded for. He lives in Vancouver proper. Reese Dutch lives like an hour and a half away from Vancouver, out in Victoria Island. So he basically takes a ferry to Vancouver and then here, and it just wouldn't have worked out at his age and what he was making, and then flying him across the country would have been a tough one for us to do. So we did not look at Reese Dutch that closely, but I did have conversations with them about Reese Dutch. Come on, there's got to be some questions. It was a long off season.
Hi, I was wondering if the team has ever considered doing a bus trip to an away game.
We have talked about it.
We have talked about it. Actually, this Philly trip is one that we're looking at to see if it makes sense. We thought it would be fun for those people that want to basically stay up for 36 hours and watch 2 lacrosse games. But that's one. I don't know if you have any specific suggestions, but we are looking at Philly potentially.
No,
Noted. Noted.
I thought it would be a good idea
It's a great idea.
to try to, just especially with the season ticket holders.
Yep. I love it. And we will look into it and come up with some options that will float by you.
All right, cool. Thanks.
Yep, go ahead, bud.
It was a day of their home opener against us, against the Black Wolves in Rochester. Is that how come NLL was having trouble, having difficulties having the games on the first and the third? Because I know that we were supposed to play them in Rochester for their home opener.
Yeah, because of that little thing that we just went through, the CBA negotiations and everything, they canceled the first 2 weeks of the season. And we were supposed to go to Rochester to play them, so now that game's going to be made up on the last part of the year. So they extended the season another week. We were one of the lucky teams that didn't have to really get affected any of our home games, and then they added a game to the end. So we will be playing the full 18-game season, and we will be playing Rochester again. Yeah, go ahead, sir.
Taking that into consideration, is the league stable?
The league is very stable, to be quite honest with you, and I think that's one of the reasons that that negotiation went on longer than it probably should have. But to give you an example, I've been in the league for 7, 8 years, and we've always hovered around 9 teams. Now we're at 11 teams. We have 2 more teams coming in. I think everyone knows that Rochester is moving to Halifax, and Buffalo bought another team. And then there's going to be another announcement coming very soon about another team, and we're hopefully going to have another announcement for the year after that for another team. So when you look at things like that, we really went from 9 teams up to 15 teams pretty quickly, and we signed a nice deal with Bleacher Report to have our games over an OTT platform, and they're owned by Turner Broadcasting, so there's also a good relationship there. Sponsorships in the league are going up. We're adding more jobs. All those teams that come in add another 25 jobs to that. So we have another 25 players coming in with 5 teams, another 250 players. The league is at a point where it's really starting to take off. And I think that had a lot to do with why this CBA negotiation went so long. If everyone remembers, and I don't know if anyone in this room does, but the last CBA negotiation, the league was teetering on going out of business, and that negotiation went like that, because they both had to give up a lot of things to make sure the league didn't go out of business. Because the league is on the verge of going there, they wanted to make sure things were put in place that the players were taken care of as we grow also. So that's why it took a little longer.
So we could be looking at maybe the seasons being extended?
That was one of the big points
Got
during the
more teams
CBA.
now and maybe play more games?
Well, logically, if you add more teams, you have to play more games. So yes, I think that's coming down the pike. And that was one of the points that the players union was talking to us about, was if we extended the season, how does that affect the players? And that's what took a little bit longer with the CBA.
And one of the points that Rich touched on was this new deal with Bleacher Report Live. For those of you that follow us on the road, you probably watch on NLL TV. All of the road games will be housed on Bleacher Report Live now. So if you have paid for your subscription, you'll be migrated over to BR Live, or that's where you'll be able to purchase for the season. So make sure you download that app, and we'll continue to hit you via social media and different things to remind you and tell you how to do that. But it's really going to be fantastic, and every team is really stepping up their game in terms of what they're doing with broadcast. You'll really see an improvement with what we're doing with our home games. I mean, you're at the game, so you're not watching them, but if you happen to miss one or go back and watch them, you'll see a real difference in the level of production that we're putting in, and that really goes across the league. So to Rich's point, it's really a testament to the growth and the investment that, companies and production companies and people are making in this league, and how much opportunity there is for growth.
Good, sir.
Yes, the WNBA expansion required that teams would give up players to other teams or new teams. Does the NLL give up players like that as well?
Yeah, so that was a big thing in this offseason. So to answer that question, the question was, is there an expansion draft? And there was an expansion draft this year. And what happens is we have to protect 5 offensive players, 5 defensive players, and at least 1 goalie. If you decided not to protect a goalie, like Buffalo did, then you could protect 1 other player. We decided to protect the goalie, Doug Jamieson, and we protected 5 offensive guys and 5 defensive guys. We lost in that, so also things that maybe you guys don't see. Last year we had 20 guys on the roster, 4 on the practice squad. But I also have another list that's not a public list that has about another 10 guys on it that for some reason can't come and play, or they retired and I keep their names on a list in case they want to unretire, some personal reasons, whatever it is that they can't play. So on that list would have been a guy like Matt Rambo, a guy like Miles Jones, who people might have heard of. I used to have Paul Rabel on that list. We had Rob Pennell on that list. So what happened was, in the expansion draft, we lost Anthony Jochum because we had to expose Anthony. We weren't going to protect Anthony. And then Philadelphia picked Matt Rambo from our list because Matt Rambo lives in Philadelphia, and they thought that it would be a good marketing tool to get this really prolific outdoor player to play indoor. So those are the 2 guys we lost. Next year, there will be an expansion draft. I'll backtrack a little bit too. Depending upon how many teams come into the league is depending upon how many total players we could lose. So last year, we had 2 teams come in, we lost 2 total players. If next year we have 3 teams come in, then we could lose up to 3 players. And again, it'll probably be the same rules where we protect the goalie 5 and 5. I'm predicting now that we'll probably have 2 teams coming in, so we'd lose 2 players, and that's something that we'll have to figure out by the end of the year of who we protect and who we don't protect. I'm expecting a lot from this season. I mean, we've done a lot in the offseason. Just to recap some of the things we did. Let's talk about the expansion draft. I'll bring it up. I'm surprised no one's brought it up before. Kyle Buchanan was one of the guys, right? So I'll give you a little example of how our expansion draft worked. And this is one of the stories that I'm going to tell you that's probably more than what someone else might tell you. During the offseason, at the game at our Rochester home, when we played Rochester in the playoffs here, I had a conversation with Kyle Buchanan. We went to breakfast. Kyle Buchanan and I agreed on a 2-year deal. Had a handshake. We were ready to go. I was getting ready to go on vacation, a family vacation after the season, and I sent Kyle his contract. Kept waiting for Kyle to get back to me. The day before I'm leaving on vacation, Kyle calls me and says, Rich, I have to renege on the contract. I want to explore free agency. I said, Kyle, I'm about to leave for Europe, and that's not the right thing to say. So to my wife's dismay, I got to the airport and I wasn't the happiest camper, and that whole plane ride to Italy, I was thinking about how I could resurrect this. Because also, please take this into consideration. I think I might have talked about this last year when we did this. You become attached to the players and you become friendly with them. And I'm sure you guys do. We're human. We do too. Kyle Buchanan was a person that I've known since he was 13 years old. In my past life, I was the GM of a hockey team in Trenton, New Jersey. And Kyle Buchanan's uncle played for me and was my captain. And Kyle came into our locker room and would run around at age 12, 11, 13 in that area. And that's when I first met Kyle. And then we were in Philadelphia and we signed Kyle in a free agent camp. And I was the one that made Kyle our captain after Sean left. So I had a very good relationship with Kyle. So from a human standpoint, I'm getting on that plane, I'm thinking not only am I losing a good player because he wants to now test free agency, I'm also losing a friend and someone that I have a relationship with that I didn't expect that to happen. Now, for whatever reason, people have lives, and whatever reason Kyle has is fine, and I respect his reason. But from a business standpoint too, I put my emotions aside, but from a business standpoint, it put us in a bad bind. So I go vacation, I come back, I try to talk to Kyle again 2-3 more times, and he is dead set. He wants to test free agency. I said, okay, you want more money? What do you want? Let's talk. And it was nothing. I couldn't do anything to get him off of wanting to test free agency. So now it's a week before the expansion draft, and I have to decide. Now here's where the dilemma comes in from a business standpoint. I have to decide to protect Kyle or not protect Kyle. If I do not protect Kyle, Philadelphia will take him first, and we get nothing. We don't get any draft picks. We don't get any players. We get nothing. So I called the league office and I said, if Kyle left me as a free agent, because there's a mechanism in place everyone should know, if we lose a free agent, when he goes to his new team, we are awarded picks the next year based on how he does with that team. So I said, okay, take Kyle's history. There's a formula that goes through. And I said, take Kyle's history, and he leaves me, what will I get in the supplemental picks for next year? They said, Rich, you would get a second-round pick. So I said, okay, if I protect Kyle and he leaves me, I'm at least going to get a second-round pick. If I don't protect Kyle and he gets picked up, I get nothing. So now I'm on the realm of saying, okay, we have to do it what's best for the team. We have to get our second-round pick somewhere. We had to make a decision. There's a player on our team, Nick Tchaikovsky, we were like, we want to protect him, we don't have enough guys. We want to protect him, we don't have enough guys. So now I said to myself, okay, if I lose Kyle to free agency and I get a second-round pick because I protected him, Nick Tchaikovsky is going to Philadelphia. They told me they were going to choose Nick Tchaikovsky. Nick Tchaikovsky's 21 years old. He's got a great upside. He can play on the back end. He can play on the front end. So I said, all right, I got to find a team now that would take Kyle and give me at least a second-round pick so I can protect Nick Tchaikovsky. So my ultimate goal was to come out of this deal with protecting Nick Tchaikovsky and getting a second-round pick instead of just a second-round pick. And San Diego was able to accommodate us that way. That's why I traded Kyle there, got a second-round pick, and protected Nick Tchaikovsky. That's what was best for this team. Did it hurt personally? Absolutely hurt personally. Does it hurt personally to this day? Absolutely it hurts personally to this day. Because as a person, I truly, truly have a lot of affection for Kyle Buchanan, but Kyle had to do what was right for his family, and I get that. It's a business. And I had to do what was right for this team. And that was right for this team was protecting Nick Tchaikovsky and getting a second-round pick. And that's what we did on that one. So that was the first thing. Then Aaron Bold came to me. And Aaron Bold said, Rich, I live in Edmonton. My wife, we have some family things with his wife. His wife, I don't know if anyone's ever read it, but his wife is sick. And he could not be away from home. So Aaron Bold, great relationship. Aaron and I talk all the time. We knew Aaron was going to leave and have that happen. So now when Aaron plays well for Vancouver, we're going to get picks for Aaron. So that worked out. Then we went out, and now we lose Kyle Buchanan. I have to fill that spot now with Kyle Buchanan. I took that second-round pick, and I went and got Tyler Digby, who you guys will enjoy Tyler Digby. When Tyler Digby started in Vancouver, he played in Calgary, 38 goals scored. He's 6'5", 240 pounds. So now on that side, I have Callum Crawford is over 6 foot, 200 pounds. Kevin Crowley is over 6 foot, 200 pounds. And Tyler Digby is over 6 foot, 200 pounds. There's not many teams that are going to be able to defend our right side during this season. Because if they lock in on Kevin, then Callum and Tyler can do his thing. Tyler's game, so everyone understands, Kyle's game was different. You guys have all watched Kyle. Great athlete. Great person, great player. But his game was more of running around and scooping up loose balls and darting in and out of everybody. Tyler is a different player. Tyler was also drafted into the Canadian Football League as a tight end. So Tyler knows how to pick and he knows how to block. So now think about the people we have up front now. Kevin Crowley's greatest attribute is that he can shoot the ball from the outside. So he steps back, he shoots the ball. Tyler Digby now will set the pick. Guys will run into a 6'5", 240-pound guy, and he can go around the edge. Callum Crawford's greatest ability is his ability to give the ball to somebody else. He has a great passer. So again, what happens? Digby comes up, sets the pick, he goes off, Callum's got the ball, Digby scoots down, he's 6'5", catches the ball here, puts the ball in the net. I'm breaking it down to simplicity, but that's what he's good at. For being someone who's 6'5", 240 pounds, his hands are so soft and he can score. We happen to be lucky because he was living in Pittsburgh and he got married and he was traveling to Calgary and he didn't want to travel to Calgary anymore. We have a good relationship with Calgary. We were able to make that deal and bring him in. So we lost Kyle, gained a second-round pick, kept Nick Tchaikovsky, and added Tyler Digby. That's a win for us. We know we're losing Aaron Bold, so I have to find a goalie. We went out and got Alex Bouquet, who in 2016 was on the all-rookie team as a goalie. When we think about this, and I'll explain goalies to you guys a little bit more. Well, let's throw all the cards on the table. I'll throw all the cards on the table. We went after other goalies. We did look at other goalies. There were some goalies that just signed that we were in the mix for. Again, based on geography, Sometimes you lose, sometimes you win. So we lost on that. We then circled back and looked at Alex Bouquet. In this world, goalies get mature, I should say the word mature, but goalies mature around that 26 to 30-ish, 27, 28 to 30, 31, 32. Dougie Jamieson, I still believe, is going to be the goalie of our future. He's only 22 years old. And he's really only had 1 year where he's played enough to be 22 years old. So we needed to find what's that next goalie. What's that goalie that's in that 26 to 30 range that's ready to make the breakout and be the next guy? Bouquet was always on our list. We did not think we would have a chance to get Bouquet because Buffalo had him. So on the back end, that's our whole business is about relationships. My wife laughs at me all the time because I spend so much time on the phone. She goes, "You're like over the back fence all the time with everybody." But that's how you know what's going on. And I knew that Buffalo was going to sign a really big goalie, which they did this week. That allowed me to talk to Buffalo to say, hey, if you're going to sign this really good goalie in the future, we won't say his name, you're going to have to get rid of a goalie, and we could use a goalie. So that is very rare kind of to see, especially with players like that, to see in-division trades. And we were able to do that because of our relationship with Buffalo to bring in Alex. So now Alex gives us a backup. We signed Warren Hill, we drafted Ethan Woods, and we got Dougie, and we got Alex. Between the four of them, three of them are going to stick on this team. And out of those, you think about it, at least two of them that stick will be good young goalies that we can improve all the way up, and one will be a veteran that's ready to make that next step into that echelon of being 27, 28, 29 years old. So I was very happy with that. I've mentioned a lot about geography. And geography plays into your effect, and sometimes it plays against you. Greg Downing played into it for us. If you guys don't know Greg Downing, he's one of the top, he'll be one of our top 5, probably in our top 3D this year. He's one of the best defensemen in the league. He lives in Boston and was commuting to Colorado. He became an unrestricted free agent, and because of relationships with Kevin Buchanan and Callum Crawford, the minute I could talk to him on August 1st, I think I called him at August 1st. I sent him a contract on July 31st is my birthday. So it's funny because my birthday is always spent doing something with the family, and then they go to sleep, and I stay up till midnight because free agency starts at August 1st at 12:01. So by 12:05, Greg Downing had a contract on his table, and by 8 o'clock, I called Greg Downing on August 1st, and he signed to come here, which was perfect for us. So now we lost Jokum, and we lost Dylan Evans, who was on our team for the end of the year. Now I put in Greg Downing. So I take Dylan Evans out, who was, I love Dylan, he's a good guy, but he's probably a 9th, 10th defenseman, and I added a top 3 to 4 defenseman with Greg Downing. I lose Jokum, now I got to fill that spot. I went out and got Andrew Suter. So a lot of people might remember Andrew when he was with us before. Andrew's a very good friend too. You develop relationship with guys. It pained me to trade Andrew Suter, but even Andrew, if I brought him in here today, would tell you he was making a lot of money, and he had 3 ACL surgeries, 2 on one leg, 1 on another. And when he came here, he got one while he was here, and he wasn't ready to take that next step. So we were able to trade him to Rochester, and we picked up a couple of picks, and I think we got Derek Searle in that deal too. And then Andrew went to Vancouver and had a great year last year. He scored 19 points, which would have made him one of our top defensive scorers if he was here. He had 10 goals, I think he had 9 goals, 10 assists. 98 loose balls, which we're judging loose balls between 90 and 100. Plus, the one thing I really, really like about Andrew Suter, he is the biggest, toughest dog in the yard you'll ever see. And last year, I was upset that we had 2 fights. The league will get mad at me because they don't like us to talk about fights, but it's part of the game at some points, and I apologize for anybody in the room that doesn't see it, but it happens, right? It's like hockey, it happens. We had 2 guys fight last year, Stefan LeBlanc and Riley O'Connor. Now, if you've known Stefan LeBlanc and Riley O'Connor, they're not fighters. And it wasn't fair for them to do what they did. I have a lot of respect for what they did. They stuck up for teammates, but it wasn't fair for them to do it. But in their defense, we did not have someone on the bench that would have done that. So I said, who's the biggest dog in the yard? Andrew Suter. Andrew loves the New England Black Wolves. Always wanted to come back to the New England Black Wolves. So I was able to trade 2 third-round picks to Vancouver to bring him home. When I called him finally and said, you're coming home, he hung up. I was like, Hung up? I've been working all summer to get you here. You hung up? He calls me back 5 minutes later. He goes, Rich, I apologize to hang up. I had to call my parents and let them know that I'm coming home. And my mother and father started to cry that I was coming back to New England. So that's the kind of guys we want. He's also the kind of guy that when something happens on the floor, he's going to take it into his own hands and take care of it. He's the kind of guy that'll go to coach, and he's already said this, if someone does something to one of our offensive guys and I play defense, I'm going to come to you on the next shift and I'm going to say, play me on offense so I can go against that defensive guy and take care of him. So you can't ask for a better teammate, you can't ask for a better leader. So I was happy to lose, I wasn't happy that we lost Anthony, but I brought in Andrew on the backside. And then this draft, we knew going in, we didn't have a lot of picks, and we knew that we would have to go for depth guys. So we picked up a goalie, good young goalie that we will bring along and mature. We picked up Jackson Nishimura. To give you an example of what I think Jackson Nishimura will be, Jackson Nishimura is probably a smaller, slender version of Colton Watkinson. He can fly, and he's got better hands than Colton Watkinson and can score. So Jackson will be someone that I think you guys should look at. And then we brought in Derek Downs. Derek Downs is a pure scoring lefty, which I thought on the left side is what we needed, and a good young tough guy named Matt Lee. And we drafted an American named Tal Bruno, who went to 2 open tryouts and really impressed us. So I think you'll like him. Some of the other guys who I was excited to bring in, J.P. Keeley. Everyone might remember J.P. He was with us last year. J.P. was one of those guys that fell into that realm of, and listen, I'm a big boy. I'll admit when I've made a mistake, and I think that's the only way we grow. I made a mistake with J.P. Keeley. And I'll tell you why I made a mistake with J.P. Keeley. We drafted J.P. 10th last year. He played in 2 games, scored 2 goals. Sometimes I get loyal to guys, and sometimes I lead with my heart, not my head sometimes. And my wife says to me sometimes that's a fault that I have, but also a good thing that I have. Maybe last year we should have recognized that Kevin Buchanan was hurt way before he was hurt, and we should have sat Kevin and got him his surgery earlier and gave JP another chance. But because of Kevin and who he is and the relationships and everything he's done for this organization, we rode Kevin as long as we could ride him until he came to us and said, I can't go anymore. So JP didn't get the chance JP deserved last year, and I fully own that. JP went to play in the WLA and scored over 30 goals, ripped it up. He was one of the most sought after free agents in the league. 7, 8 teams called him that wanted him. We stayed in touch with JP. We explained to JP what was going on. He understood our loyalty to Kevin, and he understood what we were doing. He loved everything this organization did, and at 12:01 on August the 1st, JP had a contract on his table, and he signed it for a 2-year deal to come back here because he believed in what we were doing. Now, we're going to give JP every opportunity to do what he does. If he does what we think he's going to do, he's a 30-goal scorer. So you had a 30-goal scorer with Stefan. Now, Kevin Buchanan, fully healed, physical specimen. The guy's in the best shape I've ever seen anybody. He comes back and scores 70 points. Riley O'Connor, who had an off year last year. But Riley does a lot of good things. If Riley gets back to where he is, now think about our left side. So our left side would be Stefan in the 75, 80 points, J.P. Keeley hopefully with 20 to 30 goals, Kevin Buchanan with 70 points, Riley O'Connor back to 20 goals and stuff. Now our left side is set for the future because they're young enough too. The oldest guy there would be Kevin, and Kevin's in better shape than anybody I know, so I hope at 32 years old, I wish I was in that good a shape. So he can go forever. Stefan's in his 30s, but JP is in his 20s. Riley O'Connor's in his 20s. This guy, Derek Downs, we liken Derek Downs, so everyone understands, because you guys haven't seen him yet, and some of you might have remembered Pat Saunders. Derek Downs can shoot the ball better than Pat Saunders, and he's a pure goal scorer. And he's only 21 years old. So there's another guy that we're going to bring along. And then there's a sleeper in there. And the sleeper I think you guys should all look at too is Nick Mariano. Nick is an American that grew up in Westchester, White Plains area. He made our team last year, but because of numbers-wise, we traded for Stefan. I didn't have a spot to put him, so we had to release him. So Nick came back this year to us, and Nick he's one of the finalists for the U.S. men's outdoor team, and I really, really like Nick, and he could sneak in the backside here and do some things. So offensively, I really like what we did. We filled in the defensive part, which I really like what we did, and then we brought in a goalie to compete who has a little bit more veteran because, I said to Coach too, Dougie and Warren Hill, very, very good goalies, and Dougie will be the goalie of our future. But when you look down the bench, both of them have 1 game apiece. I need to give you someone that has more than 1 game apiece. And Buke has 77 goals. He was on the all-rookie team. So that gives Coach more to do. So I really like the makeup of the team. And here's a couple of reasons why I like the makeup of the team. And I'm shocked someone hasn't asked this yet, because I think Buffalo has done a really good job in this offseason. They went out and got 2 draft picks that they needed. They got Matt Vink. They went out and got Corey Small. They got Bryce Sweeting. Everyone's predicting them to win the division. And you know what? On paper, they probably should win the division. I'm not saying they shouldn't, but you guys are all sports guys. You're all sports people. And you've seen these superstar teams put together. I'm a Yankee fan. Don't get me wrong. I know it's hard here in New England. I'm a Yankee fan. I grew up in New Jersey. I live in New Jersey. I like the Yankees. 27 world championships, but that's okay. But there are times where the Yankees are stacked and they don't win because they don't play as a team. And that's the one thing at other teams I think we have over other teams. There's only one ball, and there's a lot of people in Buffalo that want that ball. We have a lot of unselfish guys. And during this whole lockout thing we had to deal with and the NLL stuff that we had to deal with, there was a lot of teams that were infighting against each other. And not once did our team infight. Not once did our team backbite each other. Not once did our team splinter. And that's a good thing. Another fault that I think that I'll be more than happy to take some blame for it is that I think I tinkered a little too much last year with the team and tried to make it too perfect and tried to do too many things. My goal this year is hopefully my job is done. Barring injuries or whatever happens, I hope my job is done and these guys can play together for a long time. The other thing I think we have over some other teams is that all the guys that are on this roster have signed multi-year deals and want to be in New England and want to play together. And they're all in that age of 22 to 28, 26. So if they're together for the next 3 or 4 years, that's how Saskatchewan won. That's how those big teams have won. You know, I think Georgia won because they were just really, really talented, but a bunch of guys together. Saskatchewan was really bad before they were really, really good. And that made a difference because they brought in guys and kept them together. So the way we built this team, there was a couple ways we could have built this team. We could have got here to New England and said, you know what, we're going to tank everything like Minnesota did before they became Georgia, and like Saskatchewan did, Edmonton did before they became Saskatchewan, and they traded all their good guys away, got picks, and planned for the future. And those teams were horrible, but then they had great drafts, and they made the teams the way they are now. My philosophy was when we got here is that I couldn't go to New England, stand in front of the fans and say, hey, by the way, buy tickets, come watch us, but we're going to stink for the next couple of years because we want to build up picks for 4 or 5 years down the road. So we had to build it in a way where we were still competitive and we still brought in enough good players to be competitive, but also bring in the right players and the right mix of veterans and rookies, make them play together for a while, put them in a setting that they were comfortable with so they would sign long-term deals. And now you guys, I believe, will start seeing that come to fruition. I tend to talk a lot. Everyone understands. So please, jump in and ask any questions you want.
I got a question.
Sure.
What's it going to take for your coaches to actually wake up during the game? I'm over here.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay. When we get in trouble, they stand behind their guys with their arms folded with a blank expression.
Okay.
Okay. You see the other team, when their guys get in trouble, they're yapping at them constantly.
Okay.
Your guys looks like they doze off. What's with
Well,
that?
I'll answer that the best way I can. I told you I'd be honest. Let's give you an example. Everyone's been to every one of our games, right? Your season ticket holders, you've seen games. Let's pick a coach. Troy Cordingley in Buffalo. Everyone know who Troy Cordingley is in Buffalo? Everyone knows that Buffalo, Troy has been, he's a boisterous guy, Troy. He yells and screams and yells and screams and yells and screams. And that team came in last 2 years in a row. My guys don't yell and scream as much. They tend to let the players play. They tend to let the players, they're men, and they tend to be that way with the team. And we've been in the playoffs the last 3 years. There's only been 2 teams in the playoffs the last 3 years, us and Georgia. So I like that style of coaching. I believe that and other people here might be coaches in other things. The athlete today is different than the athlete years ago. Yelling and screaming nowadays with some athletes goes in one ear and out the other, and it doesn't get the point across. Now, believe me, you guys don't see behind the scenes things. We're also representing this organization, and I want our coaches to represent this organization in the best light possible. I want our coaches to have character and not be characters. I want our coaches to be good human beings and not guys that just yell and scream all the time. Now, with that being said, when you step in the back of the locker room with us, oh, it's a whole different ball game if you were back there. I've seen Coach throw a table. I've seen Coach throw chairs. I've seen Coach yell. But he does it behind closed doors where he can talk to the guys and treat them as human beings and treat them as the men they are. He will never do that in front of anybody and embarrass a player in front of everybody. He'll do it behind there, and he'll get his point across. So it's a different philosophy. Does it work? I believe in my heart of hearts for the longevity of an organization, it does work. Could we get the quick fix and bring in some here that's going to curse and scream and go nuts and everything? We could, but my philosophy, and this is my opinion, I don't know how much that leads to building a foundation for a long-term team. So I hope that answered your question as best as possible. Yeah, sure. 2 minutes? Okay.
Like 5 minutes.
Okay. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Scott.
The youth clinic sort of disappeared last year.
Yep.
What's the plan for this year?
See those Saturdays? Last year our schedule was tough, right? Man, we had Sundays, we had Fridays. We talk about this. Amber and I talk about it all the time. It is, we have a Friday game. How can families get here to do youth clinics? We have Sunday games. How can families stay after on a Sunday to do youth clinics? So we really needed those Saturdays because then you have the whole day. Plus, always, you guys know, the players fly in from everywhere. So now if I fly them in early on Saturday, we can do clinics during the Saturday, maybe jump in something on Sunday, something on Monday. We're doing some vacation days and things like that. So that was one of the big pieces of bringing back some Saturday games for us, so we can start doing this. Now, also, Amber and I have been talking about looking at buying our own box, portable box, that we could possibly put here or somewhere else. So when we do have a Sunday game, I can bring the guys in on Saturday and they can go somewhere else to teach box clinics and things. So we are working on a lot of that. The schedule was a big piece for us. One more question, I think, because we got a couple minutes till we all got to get in there and watch these guys go to work. Yeah, sure. You know what? It's going to be, listen, I'm not going to lie. Like, I had scheduled 4 training camps. And because of everything that went on, we're down to 2. And you know what? It will affect some things. And it will affect guys, the young guys, that should have gotten the opportunity to have more than 2 chances for us to look at them. It will affect guys like the American guys that we've invited here to come to camp and try out because they're not going to get the full opportunity. Now, we all can't cry over spilt milk. It is what it is, and we got to deal with what we got to deal with. So that's why we added a scrimmage tonight, practice and teach tomorrow, scrimmage on Sunday, and then 2 scrimmages on Saturday and Sunday next week, which should give us a good look. Would I have liked more? Yes. But these are the cards we were dealt and the cards we have to play with. We're in better shape than some other teams that aren't getting that many games in. It will affect, I don't think it will affect how they gel together because you're only talking really 2 weeks, and during that 2 weeks, you're talking 35 to 40 guys, right? So my season to gel the guys starts when we pick that team, and that's when they start to gel, which hasn't changed. They'll still get the 18-game schedule, so I think that'll work very well for us. It's just those extra guys trying to make the team that it's going to affect. If now they said to us, hey, Rich, because this thing went on and on, we're going to shorten the season from 18 games to 14 games, yes, I think that is. But we're going to keep it at 18, and it'll start just a little later. So those guys that we pick, those 25, they will start gelling at that point.
Okay, guys, it's almost 7 o'clock. It's about 10 till. Doors open at 7. Pick up your wristbands where? Oh, got them already. You guys are all set. Special seating for you guys. Don't forget the post-game photo. We're going to get you out on the field with the team, take a great group shot. I promise you we'll have more time with the guys for autographs and photos within the season. Tonight, we've got them working really hard, just like they're cramming in a lot of practice. We've also got to get a lot of things for intro videos and social media and all the things that we do in the game. So we're going to go put these guys in front of a camera after they practice for 2 hours. So we'll take that photo tonight, but we will have our autograph session like we always do and give you some opportunity for some post-game parties and different photo opportunities with the guys. We want to make them really accessible to you and bring back those clinics. That's definitely on our radar. Thank you so much for being season ticket holders. Again, you really are the heart and soul and the foundation of everything that we do. Tell your friends, bring your friends. I know you're doing that, but we want to continue to build this fan base and make this a really awesome home field advantage for these guys. Rich has worked incredibly hard. You know, I shift into basketball season in the summertime, but we're talking on a regular basis, and this guy doesn't sleep. He's put everything into making this team a winner. And I'm super excited and fired up to see this team on the field tonight. I know our staff is really excited, and I hope you are too. So enjoy it tonight. Stop by the sales table if you have any questions about emails, who your account executive is. Stop by the sales table tonight. Make sure you get those questions answered. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
Town.